Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by BKCW. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined each and every day by Jerry Hamilton. And today, we got Rod Babers filling in for Bobby Burton. Rod, thanks for joining us today.
Love it, man.
Always great to have you on, man. Jerry, you got the shades on, obviously.
Texas baseball wins the SEC in Schloss's first year. Yes, they get the gooders. They get the gooders to open the show for that one. That's quite a hellacious accomplishment in year one.
Beautiful.
In this league.
Definitely. And the third Texas coach to win a conference title in their first year. So I really thought it'd be the first. Jerry and I did some research this morning, and the third. So quite a feat regardless, but also crazy at the same time that there's now three that have done it. Pretty cool accomplishment. But yes, so with Texas beating OU yesterday and with Tennessee beating Arkansas, it gave them the outright regular season title. So how about that?
So Texas is, the fact that this program is coming into the SEC, and I'm not going to say dominated, but definitely have been, not only this program, but we're talking about the athletic department, period.
Yeah.
And I was talking to actually Drew Martin the other day, and we kind of got some behind the scenes intel on them entering the SEC and the methodology behind Texas upping their game to make sure it was SEC ready. And this is all intentional and deliberate. They put together a task force for every sport, every possible situation, and all the different elements, whether you're talking about facilities, whether you're talking about recruiting, whether you're talking about NIL, and basically compared what Texas was doing to what the best teams in the SEC were doing, and made sure that they checked every box. Can we compete at every level in every possible scenario? And I think that was a big part of it, man. Texas came into this thing with their eyes wide open, and that's clearly why they've been so impressive so far in SEC play. In every sport.
Every sport. I got to tell you, this one may be the sweetest, though. When you close out a regular season conference title on your rival's field, come from behind fashion, wasn't looking good in any text thread or chat or anything, wasn't looking good for a while. It's the way to get it done, man.
And I think it's also important, and we'll get into this on Bases Loaded later today, but, Texas has been slipping, lost 5 of the last 6, 39 strikeouts against Florida last weekend, was outscored 42-17, I believe, over the last 2 weekends. So to get that momentum is huge going into not only, of course, the SEC tournament, which I don't think, is that big of a deal, but into the regionals as well. So that they needed something good to go their way, and they need to continue on over the next 2 days for sure.
By the way, Max Ballou comes back, hits a homer, and Blake suddenly has his War Stick shirt on again. I don't think that's a coincidence.
I think War Stick.
By the way, I am in the car. I know a lot of you guys travel along I-10. Who's been to Monticello, Florida? Raise your hand. I almost did this live stream from a Waffle House, but the connection wasn't good. That would have been an all-timer. I'll try to do that next Florida trip when you're in the Panhandle. But I'm on my way from South Florida up to Pensacola. I'm going to Trenton Henderson's spring game tonight, the big 4-star plus edge out of Pensacola Catholic, who's scheduled to visit Texas June 13th.
And we're going to get in some more recruiting here momentarily. But first, guys, I want to bring this up because we get questions in the mornings about the Director's Cup. And Brett put this out yesterday, I believe, and this is his final score projection. And Texas with yet another, or most likely, I believe, another Director's Cup victory. So just goes with what Rod was talking about a moment ago.
They've won what? So they've won 3 out of the last 4? Am I right about that?
Oh.
And this would make 4 out of the last 5. And the crazy part, we didn't even care about, as a fan base, we didn't even care about the Director's Cup until CDC came to town. But I think now there's a new collective pride in kind of the overall product that Texas is putting out by the athletic department. And it's right now, we're entering, or maybe not entering, maybe we're on the verge of it, maybe we're in the middle of it, a golden age for Texas sports. There's no doubt. It's and a lot of the credit should go to CDC behind the scenes, and what he's done and his very unique leadership style. And that's what I've come to appreciate. It is a unique leadership style. Not a lot of ADs around the country, and he's the best, have the qualities that he has and are as relatable and as someone who takes pride in the fan experience as much as CDC does. That's rare, that combination.
He does add, I want to read this to y'all real quick. Texas slid a bit in rowing, baseball, softball, but still holds a 50-point edge if they hit their projection that he's giving them. No team can catch them, even with their best case scenario score. So as long as they do somewhat decent, it sounds like Texas has this one wrapped up, guys.
We need that. Does Jordan Hudson get any points deducted for North Carolina at all?
Oh, man. Come on, man. Come on. All right. Don't be hating on Belichick. Belichick living his best life, man. I'm not mad.
If you take away the head football coach's voice, I think you should have points deducted off your Director's Cup total.
Hey, man. He must be – think about how – listen, it must be some good loving. We all know that. So I'm happy for him. It's the best he's ever had. And anytime you've had the best you ever had, good for you. Whether it's in your 20s or whether it's in your 70s, good for you, Bill. Do the damn thing.
Oh, man. All right. Well, before we move on, guys, Jerry, I'm going to let you tell everyone about BKCW today, if you're ready.
Oh, I can definitely do that. Did your business have a frustrating insurance or employee benefits renewal? Well, that's why this show's brought to you by BKCW Insurance. Most likely, you didn't hear from your agent all year. Then right before it was time to renew, your agent delivered the bad news of a rate increase. When that happens, the agent is providing no value and you're stuck in what we call the insurance trap. Don't want to be in that. BKCW takes you out of the insurance trap by providing you with actual risk management consulting, not just price quoting. Operated out of their headquarters in Austin, Texas, and owned by a UT graduate, BKCW uses a 5-step process to identify your business's weak spots, design a plan, execute it, and monitor your situation throughout the year so you can lower your insurance costs and effectively manage your company's risk. BKCW has already helped some of the most well-known construction companies, restaurant groups, breweries, and nonprofits in Central Texas escape that insurance trap. And it all starts with a risk-free assessment. Go to BKCW or send an email to info@BKCW to get started with a free risk assessment or claims audit and escape the insurance trap. That also got me thinking of how much more money A&M is paying in buyouts than any other program in the SEC. Did y'all see that graph yesterday?
Wow. That's a wild graphic, man. I didn't.
Blake, you have to bring that up in a few minutes so everybody can see it if they missed it.
I will definitely do that. I will look for it while you talk recruiting. How about that?
Yeah, so Thunder Pup says, where am I parked? I'll start with that if you missed it. I'm in Monticello, Florida, or around there on the I-10 on that exit headed to Pensacola from South Florida. I'm going to be at Trenton Henderson's spring game tonight, Pensacola Catholic, the big 4-star plus edge. Some people have him ranked as a 5. The guy that's scheduled to be at Texas June 13th. We'll see if he makes that trip. We're going to go by there. But yesterday I was at Clearwater High in Clearwater, Florida. To see Samuel Roseboro, tremendously impressive. Roseboro is a great kid, by the way. I mean, it seems to be a theme. If for those who haven't seen the Kendall Gerville interview here on the YouTube channel, go check that out. You can hear 10 minutes from Kendall Gerville I got the other day. We'll have an update with Dia Bell this weekend. But Sam Roseboro, Rod, one of the top offensive line prospects in the country on the board. Herb Hand, FSU offensive line coach, former Texas Cook / offensive line coach. Herb Hand was at the practice yesterday. Florida State gets the first visit with Roseboro, May 30th through June 2nd. Then he goes to A&M the 6th through 8th. Then he goes to Ohio State the 13th through 15th and closes it out with Texas on the 20th through 22nd. LSU's trying to get him on a midweek right after A&M. I feel like Texas is a pretty big leader here. Look, we've talked about it for months. His mom lives in Austin. His little brother, his little sister live in Austin with his mom. His mom got a job promotion and moved there in January. He wanted to stay with his high school teammates, with his high school friends. He actually moved from Greensboro, North Carolina to Clearwater when he was 11. But coaching staff there loves Sam Roseboro. First thing I noticed when I got there yesterday, I posted the photo on ontexasfootball.com. was they have the Maxes, their leaders in their football program, and he leads. And I think this was around January. It's not really recent. 365 bench, 475 or 485 on the deadlift, and 615 squat. 6'5", 285, 290, 81.5 wingspan, 10.25-inch hands. He's got all the measurables. He's got the intelligence. He's got the motor. Just a tremendous offensive line prospect, Rod.
I mean, he moves extremely well. How big is he? What did you say?
6'5", 285, 290.
Man, he does not look like a guy that big the way he moves. That is incredible.
Yeah,
wow.
Texas is on. Yeah, he's got tremendous feet, Rod. That's the first thing I noticed. And we're going to put some videos together and maybe put in a story Saturday around some recruiting update CJ and I are going to do. But he's got really good feet. He's played a lot of right tackle. He's going to play left tackle this year, but he projects more as a right tackle. He could also play guard, but he's definitely got right tackle length and athleticism. So it'll be interesting to see if Texas does win out. Texas leads for several guys on the offensive line right now, and we'll see how the dominoes fall when they fall. But this is a guy that obviously, and in the video that I did with him, he says Austin was his best visit. He just loved the city. So Texas has a pretty big lead here. Does that mean they're going to close it out? You still got to go close out these recruitments. There's a lot of things in their favor, but Texas has been leading at Roseboro for a while.
Oh, man, yeah. He's a nice-looking product. Like I said, you just don't see big guys move this well. He's so fluid for a big dude. Yeah, especially at second level. When he gets to second level, I mean, he is great at finishing blocks at the second level. You see a lot of big guys miss at the second level. They're just, and
he's a space player. He can play in space, Rod.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Yeah. Hey, there's a question, David Keith Williams. Jerry, I've asked this before, but with Sam Roseboro's size, strength, and flexibility, you see him comparable to Trey Hopkins? I do athletically. He may be inch and a half taller, but I do see some similarities athletically to Trey Hopkins. Trey Hopkins is a really good athlete playing on the offensive line and had a 10-year career in the league, Rod, 10 or 12.
Yeah.
He played longer than people thought he would. I'll say that.
No doubt about it. Yeah. Ended up being a good player in the league. Second contract guy. That's hard to do.
Hey, Rod, one thing I wanted to ask you while we're talking about recruiting here, Jermaine Bishop Jr. I know you've commented on him, but I wanted to bring his film up as well and kind of get your thoughts on him because we're having some people ask what you think about him as well.
Yeah, man. Honestly, offensively, I think he's just a special athlete, period. Special football player, period. Let's just start there. All right. Special football player, elite twitch. Guy who can change direction in a kind of dynamic way and explode out of cuts. I mean, and like I said, and it translates really well to offense, but I can see defensively his ball skills are also one of his elite traits. And I mean, get this guy gonna pull away. But I understand what Texas wants. They want guys, and I've talked about this. They're now coveting traits in the skill set that they can't coach. And one of them I do truly believe is ball skills, guys who just can track the ball really well, guys who, at the catch point are really, really, smooth and at the catch point. That's him. And I think that's what they want at the DB position now going forward, guys who can play the football when the ball's in the air and make plays on it. He's a ball hawk on defense. There's no question about it. Offensively, like I said, I think he can play offense at the next level. I think he's pretty special. Like I really do. I think he's a special twitch. I heard you guys make a Peter Warwick comparison.
That's me.
I see it. I see
he has that. He has that ability to kind of give you a leg, give you a body, and shift on you so quick he can get you leaning right. Then he's gone. Then he's out the gate. Yeah. And then he has that ability to go 0 to 60.
And I know they said that Rod B that can catch. Look, I was 20, but I could catch in high school. I wasn't like this young man. His ball skills are otherworldly. I just kind of played a little bit of offense in certain packages, but I could catch in high school. I don't know what happened to my hands as I got to the next level. Let you know that all the skills don't translate at the next level, but this young man, ball skills will translate. There's no doubt about it. So I think he's special enough to be able to play offense or defense. I understand why they want him on defense. They want those ball skills on the defensive side of the ball. And a guy, they want to start playing more man coverage. He translates to man skill because he's so damn twitchy. He'll be able to, be pretty much shadow guys coming in and out of breaks on short intermediate routes. He's a little slim, but that doesn't concern me at all. He's got a long kind of wingspan. Looks like he's got good arm length too for a guy that can play press man. If he projects to be able to play press man once you build up the armor a little bit.
Yeah, Rod, and I've said this before. He's a little thicker in his lower body than Xavier Worthy was, so he's got a little different build. He can carry more weight than Worthy, for those wondering. And I tell this story all the time. I was down at Monarch High School and I saw Calvin Ridley as a senior. He's 158 pounds as a 19-year-old senior, and he had a very similar build to Jermaine Bishop. He ended up gaining 24 pounds pretty quick as a midterm before he played his first game. I think he was 178, 182. I'm not saying Bishop's going to do that, but I think they have pretty similar frames, to your point. Somebody asked, how does he compare to Terry Bussey, Jermaine Bishop? Oh, man, this is going to sound like hate, but it's not. I think he's a better football player than Terry Bussey, and I think Bussey's really talented. Yeah. But I think Jermaine Bishop's a little better football player than Terry Bussey. And he may have a tad more 0 to 60 football explosiveness, and that's saying something. Terry Bussey, I think, he was a do-it-all guy, had a lot of upside. I would say Bishop by a hair athletically amongst those guys.
Yeah. What I love about him is I playing defense, though, just thinking about it more and more, because I know there's a conversation, should he play defense or offense? It's that's a first world problem. But he's going to be a defensive guy with an offensive player's soul, like the soul and heart of an offensive player. I played with some guys like that. Those are some of your best defenders, especially DBs. Trevon Diggs like that. I think Ed Reed was kind of one of those guys. Deion Sanders, of course, one of those guys. I think Nathan Vasher was honestly one of them dudes. He came out of high school as an athlete. I think he was one of those kind of players. You got guys who ultimately, they were good enough. They probably could have played offense. You put them on defense, though, but they never lose that what they believe is their right to the football. And those ball skills that they had, those translate. Mine didn't, but for those type of players, it is. I was never an offensive player. I dabbled in offense, but I played defense the whole time. Some guys come to college and they played offense most of the time in high school. And he'll be one of those guys where he shined. I know he played both sides, but he shined mostly on offense. He's going to play defense, but he's going to have the soul and heart of an offensive player on the defensive side of the ball. That's a good thing, actually.
Hey, we got some more questions about Bishop here. And this one I have to ask. It's from Jenny, her and Bobby listening on the road this morning. And Jenny says, Bobby thinks he's a bit like Nathan Vasher, but a little faster. What do you think, Rod?
Oh, that's a good one, Jenny. I actually really agree with that. Nathan Vasher was a skinnier guy coming out, Jerry. You remember he was little, but not afraid to hit, but the ball skills, man. I think he was one of those guys that played a lot of different positions on offense coming out of high school, but the ball skills were elite, and he was twitchy. He was a twitchy dude that could play man-to-man coverage. So I like that comparison. I like the Nathan Vasher. That's a good one. Yep. I like it.
And Glenn Keller wants to know, what do y'all think about putting him at safety?
He could play safety. He could play free safety. His ball skills, like I say, he could track the football. He could be one of those guys. I want to say Jeff might have brought that up, actually. We were talking about it. Jeff Huel brought that up, that he could play safety. And what did Nathan Vasher do? Played, when he first got here, played a little bit of nickel, then moved to safety when I was at the starting corner in that secondary. Me and Jam and Ahmad Brooks was the other safety, and then moved back to corner, I believe, his senior year, just because that was kind of his natural position that he was going to play in the NFL. But that, what I'm saying, he could play safety. Those kind of guys are just they're athletes like that, and really good football players who can diagnose angles well, understand leverage really well, are space kind of these, I call them spread babies. They understand space and leverage, and he's going to be really good at diagnosing routes as well, because he's a wide receiver by trade. So he'll be really good at being able to diagnose route concepts and route combinations, especially from the depth at safety. and you might have a high ceiling, Nathan Basher, but I'm talking about a playmaking safety like an Ed Reed kind of guy that will, that's just an athlete back there and a football player, and not a huge guy, not big, but a playmaker.
All right, Jerry, we got some more recruiting questions, but I'm going to circle back to those. You asked for the graph, so I'm going to deliver here for you.
Oh.
The SEC Athletics Department severance for the fiscal year of 2024. And as you can see, A&M, I don't even know what to say.
I mean, yeah. I mean, them alone almost was more than the rest of the SEC teams. Not really, but it looks that way on the graph. I mean, that's a massive number, right? But yeah, so Texas was at 7.5. Who are they still paying? Do we know? But that's just I just wanted to bring that graph up. Alabama, obviously nothing. Saban retired, right? So South Carolina didn't know much. Georgia, Florida's finally passed their Muschamp and Mullen payouts, which is big for them as a university there. Oklahoma is about to start theirs. If Venables goes 6-6, they'll be jumping way up there soon. If Venables doesn't get it done on the field this year, Rod.
You're right. Yeah. Now, the Ben Arbuckle experiment with John Mateer doesn't work. I think actually that offense is going to be better than most expect, though. John Mateer is more, I believe, ESPN's transfer portal. They had transfer portal ratings for players. They had him number one at top 100. I believe Max Olson had him as number one transfer portal acquisition. He's a good player, man. Yeah, good football player.
Oh, John says Rodney Terry's buyout will start on that. Good point. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention. Oh, Coach Mac Brown. No, that's funny. There, Coach Brown. There you go.
Hey, Mac's not affiliated anymore. He can take shots if he wants to. And now he's more. He's back in the Longhorn community because he's back in Austin. So taking shots at the Aggies will always go over well with your constituents here in Austin. So feel free. Just take a random shot at the Aggies.
This is funny. Dave actually says Texas is still paying Bobby Bonilla. Everybody is. That guy's got it good, man.
Oh, that's a great deal. Who's that
Best
agent?
Contract ever.
Was that agent? Who's that agent? Do we know the agent? Why don't we celebrate the agent? The agents who should be celebrated.
Exactly.
Whoever that do this.
Oh, we got some super chats here. I'm going to knock out real quick, gentlemen. I wish I would have saw this one at the beginning of the show because I definitely would have opened with something along those lines. MP Houston, thank you for the super chat. It says, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Coffee and Baseball and Sooner Tears. I'm your host, Blake Monroe. Appreciate that, MP Houston. And then Splendor Daddy, formerly Sugar Daddy, says the SEC wasn't Texas ready.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. I doubt. I was a little uncertain whether Texas, some of football here specifically, other sports, different discussion. But I was a little uncertain whether Texas was going to be able to make the leap to become SEC ready so quickly when we realized the timeline was going to be a bit expedited. But there's no hit it right on time. I mean, Texas, their ascent now in the SEC is when Georgia. Georgia's still Georgia, but Georgia's fading a little bit. Nick Saban retired. It was always at the perfect time where Texas could, be king of the SEC. That should be the next step for them for a little while. Usually that's how the SEC kind of works. You got a little period where that window, like Georgia did. Well, Alabama's window is Nick Saban. He's the GOAT. But that Georgia model, I think, is closer in the modern era, of course, with NIL and transfer portal to what Texas could do. And Peter Burns said it too. Peter Burns said a couple of years ago at Texas at the spring game, he said, it looks like Georgia looked right before they went on their run. And, to beat a man, you got to beat the man. Good year to see if Kirby Smart is just kryptonite for Sark.
Yes.
And they should beat Georgia. They should beat this Georgia team. She's been stacking that roster. There's no doubt their roster stacking. They got to go on the road. So, but with the way the programs are trending, Georgia's trending down. They're still probably going to win 10 games. But this ain't the same Georgia team that was at the peak of their dynasty. Texas is trending ascending toward getting to the national title game. You got to beat Georgia to do it. I think it's, Shakespearean irony that they get to do it in Atlanta, where that is now one of the recruiting meccas, if not the most fertile recruiting ground in the country. You got to go to Georgia and do it, and in the shadow of Atlanta. I think that's going to be pretty cool. But that's kind of how I will admit I wasn't necessarily confident they were going to go in there and just start, whipping tail. But that's exactly what every sport's been doing pretty much.
Okay, we got another super chat. Rod, you might want to get the helmet ready.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Morning. Morning. Wow.
Yeah, morning helmet here. This one from Jack. He says, diaper money for Rod. Rod, what do you think about our new DB commits? Put your helmet on. Of course, you already broke down Bishop, but let's talk Hayward Howard Jr. for a moment. I'll let you give your thoughts on him.
I think he's perfect. And thank you, by the way. Thank you for the super chat there, brother. Appreciate that. I think he's perfect for what Texas defense, for where they're evolving or what they are evolving into. I do think they're going to play in the future more man coverage. I think at one point they're going to play press man coverage. Not a lot of it. It's not going to be exclusive press man coverage. But right now they don't play any man. I mean, they're like a press man. They play 117th in press man coverage rate in the country. Only, between 15-20% man coverage rate. They want to do that more. Athletes like Hayward Howard Jr. is where you start. Decade Phillips of the world. We see no sign of guys they've been recruiting lately. He's great. Also, I love his hands and his feet in man coverage when he's playing man, but I love his eyes in zone coverage. That's something Texas DBs were really good at this season in that pattern match zone coverage. They were great, really disciplined eyes. And Coach Aquina actually is a huge advocate. I mean, he is pretty strict about eye discipline with his DBs. So that'll continue with these young guys. So that's something that's natural, I think, with Hayward Howard Jr. But I like him in press. I think that's where he kind of shines. He reroutes receivers. He's patient. He gets his hands on guys. I also like how he plays, the deep ball. Because he uses his big frame to play the deep passes too, because he's a bigger corner, about 6'2", going on 6'3", somewhere around there. And usually big guys like that, and I've played with some bigger corners, they don't have fluid, loose hips like him. His hips are pretty loose for a big corner. Usually it takes bigger corners of time to sit it down and to get in and out of breaks. Now with him, man, he's got really, really good hips. And he also, like I said, another thing I like about him, he'll come down and strike you. There are a couple of times where he'll come down and be a force in the run game if he needs to. So I love his overall game. Like I said, he just is another, to me, a reminder of where the secondary is going, I believe, in the future. Like I said, I don't know how quickly it comes, but I think at one point you're going to start seeing Texas play some press man coverage. The next step will be man coverage, more man. And I think at one point when these younger guys get in there, your Cade Phillips of the world, Hayward Howard Jr.'s of the world, even Jermaine Bishops, they're going to be playing some more press man too, which is, I think, more of the last steps of being an elite defense. Look, I mean, if you can do that, then that means you got elite athletes out there that can do it. You can't play press man unless you got the dogs to do it.
And you have the pass rush. Hey, by the way, if anybody wants to drop a $250 super chat, Rod will do the show in full uniform. So.
I wish I had some pads, man.
We'll get it. We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
I stole my pads, man. I should have stolen them. I'm mad I did.
Hey, so David Keith Williams follows up. Mayo Hamilton, what is your view of Texas having a secondary class of Hayward Howard, Samari Matthews? David Keith likes Justus Fitzpatrick at safety. I'm not sure on that. He's just he can play it all. Devon Benjamin also can play it all. Look, that would be a home run DB class. And I think Texas is slight leader over Clemson for Samari Matthews, but could go either way. And I'm not ruling out South Carolina. Justus Fitzpatrick, you guys know I was over there Wednesday. I think Texas is going to be right there in the battle with Georgia and Ohio State. And I'm not totally discounting Miami, but I'm not sure I see that. And then Devon Benjamin, Texas, Oregon, USC, Ohio State. Going to be right there. He's scheduled to visit June 6th through 8th. Justus Fitzpatrick changed his official visit to June 20th through 22nd. Samari Matthews comes back on the 13th. That'd be a home run secondary class. And then you'd have a guy like Jermaine Bishop who, depending on what side of the ball he falls on, could make that a fifth. We'll see what happens long term there.
Wow. Would that be in this 2026 class? Is that Does that seem like that's a theme? Like I always say classes usually start. I mean, I know it's really early, so maybe that theme hasn't really developed, but is it the DB class?
If not offensive line.
Okay.
It may be, it may be a little offensive line class. Splendid. I say I want to join the show for 250. It may be a little offensive line because it's such a great year in state, and then Texas in on so many big time guys out of state. Yeah. Offensive line, I know, is taking a big, part of the headlines in this class, but I think defensive back has a chance to. The crazy thing about defensive back, Rod, is all those guys, if you just count Jermaine Bishop as an athlete, they're all out-of-state guys. So that would be different to sign a defensive back class that's all out-of-state guys. That would be very, very rare.
That's a great point.
All right, we got a question that we want to ask Rod here in just a moment. But first, guys, let me take this opportunity to tell everybody about one of our other sponsors today, and that's Huel. If you're constantly on the move, or maybe you're just tired of skipping meals, Huel has you covered. Their Black Edition Ready to Drink is a total game changer. It's a complete meal in one bottle, 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, high fiber, low sugar. You're going to feel focused, full, and ready for your day. Best part is there's no prep, no cleanup. You just grab it and you go. And Huel's already sold over 500 million meals around the world. Now it's your turn to try it. New customers get 15% off plus a free gift at Huel.com when you use promo code ONTexas. And it's the end of the school year. Today's the very last day of school. Huel has been a lifesaver for me throughout this entire year, really. I try to get those kids off to school, trying to prep for coffee and football. My mornings are hectic, and that's where Huel Black Edition had come in. It's my go-to. I grab it out of the fridge, give it a shake, and I'm ready to go. So start saving time and money without compromising your nutrition today with this exclusive offer for new customers. Again, 15% off plus a free gift when you use promo code ONTexas at Huel.com. That's Huel, Huel.com with promo code ONTexas. Please see their description for terms and conditions. Skip the stress, not the nutrition. Try Huel today for complete nutrition bottled. All right, so I put this on the message board, and it's already getting quite a few responses. Credit to Jerry for thinking of this question. But, Rod, we want to ask you, who's the best safety, corner, and nickel that you've ever seen play at Texas?
Chat, that question's for y'all, too. The best corner you've seen at Texas, the best nickel you've seen at Texas, and the best safety you've seen at Texas. I just thought that'd be a good question to ask Rod this morning. And
that is really tough. I've seen even the ones I've seen. So I'm just going off my lifetime. That's still tough. Safety, I guess, is the easier place to start. I assume it's easy, but actually not. But I mean, you don't get better than Michael Huff playing safety because he could just spin down and play man coverage when he needed to too, because he was basically a cornerback playing safety. Great ball skills. Got to come down. I believe he had double-digit tackles for loss.
Where is Earl Thomas 2 for you?
Oh, yeah, Earl's in that conversation. But man, Earl was great. Hell, man, Michael Griffin was great. Even in that
That's why I asked this question. I knew it's a hard answer, man.
Kenny Vaccaro.
Yeah.
I mean, no, it's yeah, man. I feel bad now. I feel like I got to make the list. I'm still working on my DBU rankings. I'm gonna go with Huff because I played with Huff. I got a chance to see it in person at safety. I heard about Earl. I remember Coach Akin telling me Earl Thomas. He initially thought, man, he's gonna be a nickel for me. He's gonna be the perfect nickel, and they actually were working him at nickel. And then Coach Akita said he took him a couple of games watching him play safety, and it was like, all right, well, done. Like that you don't need to see anymore. His instincts kind of take over from there. So to that, I think somebody brought up earlier, could Jermaine Bishop play safety? Sometimes a coach has a vision for you. Go in there and ball out, and coach decides, you know what, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just leave him there. Because Earl was a small guy. This year's like stature, slot corner, maybe nickel guy. And then goes to safety and his instincts take over. The NFL did the same thing with Quandre Diggs, where they put in the league, they ended up moving him to safety because they thought he has the instincts of a safety, even though the body doesn't necessarily match. So I'm gonna go Huff. I know I'm gonna go Huff Daddy. the cornerback, that one is tough. Because I know my boy A. Ross got the Thorpe, but man, I'm telling you, if you're just looking at guys who are shut down corners, Quinn Jammer was a beast. Like I said, I'm biased because I played with Jam. Man, Jammer was good. We played press man too, and he was built perfect for it. He was perfectly built for it. Janae Barron at corner, guys. He won a Thorpe playing corner. So hard for me not to go with Janae because he's fresh on my mind playing the cornerback position, and I don't remember anybody playing it better than Janae played the cornerback position. Now he didn't play against a lot of elite like wide receivers, and I guess Ohio State that counts, but offenses other than that. So he didn't get tested a ton, but man, he never really. I mean, he never had multiple bad plays in the game that I can remember in this past season. Like I remember I can count the bad plays he had maybe on one hand this past season. Just thinking about the film. So I'm gonna go Janae. I'm gonna give it to Janae. I mean, he won a Thorpe. That's easy. Nickel probably was the toughest one to do here, guys. Because all the guys played nickel for a little while.
Right.
Janae played it for a while. Hell, I was a nickel for a while. Nathan Vasher was a nickel for a while. Man. Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, somebody says Bryant Westbrook. That's a good one as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm kind of going.
That was before Rod.
Nah, but I guess I remember Brian Westbrook now. Someone said Barron is the best nickel. I'm gonna go with Barron at the corner. Somebody won the Thorpe, but just a good point. I'll go with nickel. I'm gonna go with Nathan Vasher playing the nickel because he was so damn good at everything. Oh, you know what? Quandre was good at the nickel too. Quandre was a really good nickel.
Very good.
It's hard to ignore Quandre. Quandre was so good at nickel. Yeah, it's really good. And Janae was fantastic. This conversation we can go on for hours here, man. I really could.
Well, that's why I asked the question. I knew the chat would have a million answers and Rod would have a tough time answering.
It is. Yeah. Diggs at the corner ain't bad, but I'm going to go Janae at corner, Huff at safety. Go with Nathan Vasher at nickel. Remember they put Kenny Vaccaro at nickel? He was awesome. He was awesome when they put him at nickel. He's like the best player on the field when they put him at nickel. He was great at nickel, man. Johnny Johnson say, "Yes, my lifetime." Johnny Johnson and we know he's in a class by himself. Jerry Gray class by himself, but I didn't see those guys personally. I've just heard tell.
Here's the follow-up, and it's early. Do we have anybody on campus now that can enter the chat, enter the conversation? That's what I'm interested to see.
Jonah Williams.
Potentially Jonah.
Jonah Williams can enter. If you want me to put money on somebody, my odds would be in the conversation for all time. We talk about that kind of not all time conversation.
It would be in this type of conversation one day. Jonah Williams and Cade Phillips from a talent standpoint.
Yep, that's good. I agree with that. Jonah and Cade. I'll tell you, in terms of folklore, like in terms of them becoming like made man status, I'm just gonna say it. And I know people don't. Michael Taft is a made man in the DBU world because it's one of the greatest stories in the history of DBU.
Yeah,
to go from walk on to scholarship athlete to All-American. I don't think it's ever happened in the history of Texas football. I don't know if we've ever had a walk-on go from walk-on All-American and potential draft pick.
Right.
Now, I know how NFL and y'all feel about white safeties, so that's going to hurt his stock a little bit. But I think he's proven himself to be an NFL player. Stanley Sheriff was great. Yeah, Ray Clay, Mossy Cade, all those guys. But those were before my time. But he's a made man in those circles. I'm not saying he's in discussion for all time. I'm just saying guys on campus appreciating what they've done. Like he's in one of them kind of rare conversations. But yeah, I'm with you. Jonah, Cade Phillips. I hope it's Malik Muhammad. I hope this year is so good for Malik Muhammad. He forces himself into the conversation. That's what I hope for Malik Muhammad. That this year he forces. That's what Janae Barron did. Janae Barron forced us to have to put him in the top 5 to 10 all-time great DBs at Texas. He forced himself in the conversation. He wasn't there at first. Forced himself into the conversation.
So we say the best individual season a DB's ever had at Texas was Earl Thomas, though. That's got to be the best season a DB's ever had, right?
Got robbed of the Thorpe, man. Got robbed of the Thorpe. Who won it? Eric Berry that year?
Yep.
Yeah.
It was out of Tennessee.
That's probably the best individual season a DB's ever had at Texas, just off the stats, off of play. But that's not what this combo is about.
That is, though. I'm trying to think of a better one, Jerry, and I can't.
I don't think there is.
I can't think of a better one. I'm trying. It's a good because he still got the all-time interceptions record for a season, single season.
Yeah. By the way, Courtney Hall asked a good question. Does Manny Muhammad go pro without a breakout season? I think Manny Muhammad's probably higher on the NFL boards than we think. If he has a really solid season, these guys, I don't think he came to Texas to go to school 4 years here. I think he came to play 3 and get on to the NFL. And I think he'll have that option. Now, I'm not saying as a first-round pick that you guys have to go out and play this season, but if he has a quality season, look, he's going to be in that second, third, fourth round.
I expect him to be an all SEC defender. If he's not, to me, that would be a disappointment.
Yeah.
He's capable. He's got the skill set and the experience now. Experience is no longer, inexperience is no longer an excuse for Malik Muhammad. Like this year, the argument is like between him and Tav, like they are the OGs of the secondary now. So they got to lead by example, number one, which means your play needs to be consistent, a consistent baseline of excellence for the young guy. Because there'll be growing pains for the younger guys. You shouldn't have those growing pains. Saw him last year a little bit with Malik Muhammad. I don't expect to see him this year.
And by the way, he had a great season. Hey, Field, if you know a way to get in touch with Westbrook, email Blake because, I think he coaches at Saguaro maybe is where he coaches now out in the Scottsdale area. We'd love to have Westbrook on the show, and we'd love to play the hit of the Notre Dame against Notre Dame to start it. let us know if you have some contact info. We'll get him on.
And if you do, I put my contact info 2 different ways to get a hold of me in the chat. So that'd be awesome.
Big corners, man.
Here's a good question. But the answer is no, not to keep their starting role, but Rod, I think Sark has been really transparent with all this stuff. I think we're going to see more rotation of players on defense because he said it. He's like, we played 42 players this game. He said, our plan is to play more guys this year. So I think games 2, 3, and 4, you're absolutely starting roles. No, but is there going to be more of a rotation? Yes, because I think that the goal would be, what did Taft play 75 snaps a game last year?
Something like that.
No reason that he should play 75 snaps against San Jose State, UTEP, and Sam Houston State. You should be able to play your younger players more snaps in those games and develop those guys. So I think those guys may have some snap reduction in games this year, but as far as their starting job, I don't see that at all.
Yeah, and not in the big games. Right, not in the Ohio States and the Georgias and stuff like that. But I'm with you in those other games that aren't necessarily the big marquee games, rivalry games. I think he wants to play those young guys. And when you have a talented class like this, I mean, you should be playing half those damn guys. They should be out there.
You got to also hit the portal nowadays too.
That's also true. Great point, Jerry.
All right, well, we're going to get to some questions here momentarily. But first, Rod, can you tell everybody about My Athlete 360?
Yes, sir. Glad to, folks. Opportunity, innovation, and focus all meet at My Athlete 360. The future of youth sports is here, and early adopters are already winning. For coaches and trainers, My Athlete 360 is your gateway to growth for yourself and the organizations you represent. Showcase your expertise and connect directly with families and actively seeking your skills, all without expensive marketing costs. For parents, they bring trusted athletic opportunities right to your fingertips with customizable filters for age, sport type, and budget that will match with your child and match your child with the perfect coach or trainer. Whether you're a coach building a thriving business or a volunteer coach looking to bring new kids into your youth organization, or you're a parent seeking quality training, My Athlete 360 makes the connection simple and secure. Don't miss out on the platform that's revolutionizing youth sports development. That's My Athlete 360. Download the My Athlete 360 app. Your competitive advantage awaits, or you can scan the QR code you see right there on your screen. That's My Athlete 360.
Hey, Rod, I didn't talk to you about this, but Justus Fitzpatrick, watching him Wednesday in practice at St. Thomas Aquinas, who is extremely talented teams, one of the more talented high school teams in the country. He was laying hacks. So he plays, they changed from a 4-3 to a 4-2-5. He played corner last year. They're going to play him kind of nickel some this year. They just want him around the line of scrimmage because I think he's the best natural blitzer. This guy, Rod, Minka Fitzpatrick's little brother, is a tremendous all-around football player. I think he can play about anywhere in the secondary, honestly.
Okay.
But, man, he was laying hacks. I mean, it was a physical practice when they went to team. He needed a couple of minutes to gather himself after one of the hacks he laid. This guy was really impressive in a spring practice setting, kind of like those Fort Myers kids were on Tuesday for me. Justus Fitzpatrick is in Mark Orpha, I think, is going to be out there again Monday. I think that maybe that's their spring game day. But Justus Fitzpatrick is – I know there's some people that maybe have said, is he ranked high because he's Minka's brother? Now, after I saw Justus in person Wednesday, this guy's one of the top 50-ish type players in the country. This guy's just a ball player. He's got great feet. He's got really good eyes, and he is physical, man. And he's 6'1", 6'1", about 185, 190 right now. And he closes. Like when he blitzes from that nickel spot, when he sees it, Rod, he's got a little gear to him, man. It's almost like a running back seeing the hole, hits that gear.
Yeah.
Fitz is a tremendous football player.
Yeah, Coach Akina's gonna love him. He's gonna love this young man because he's versatile. Like you said, he can play any position in the secondary, versatile and aggressive. We were just talking about Kenny Vaccaro. Game could remind me of Kenny Vaccaro, the aggressive guy. So I don't even know where they would play him, if they play him at corner or they play him at nickel, or play him at safety. But I think that's one of the things that they're prioritizing now is versatility. I think that's another kind of evolutionary leap for the defense. You look at it at every level. They got D linemen that can play multiple shades. They got linebackers that they're training at edge and off ball. They got DBs that are working multiple positions like Jelani McDonald or Wardell Mack. I mean, I think that's going to be kind of the future of this defense, is they're going to be multiple by personnel and scheme. And this young man fits that theme to a T.
Yeah, I got to answer Juju Juice's question. No, Rod's not saying he's going to Texas. He's saying if he goes to Texas. Everybody that's recruiting Justus knows Georgia is who you have to beat.
I'm just talking about. Yeah. I'm just talking about.
And yes, he talked to Akina, and that's another reason I brought that up. Fitzpatrick talked about in the interview I did with him. He talked about meeting with Akina and Michael Huff, and how Texas defensive backs coaches can go up against anybody. And the key there versus Georgia, that are kind of learning some of these kids' recruitments, especially out of state guys. Georgia has been the favorite because Kirby Smart was a big part of Minka's recruitment to Alabama. Then Kirby got the Georgia job. Glenn Schumann, the Georgia DC, was at Alabama and was a big part of Minka's development before he left for Georgia. So there's a long-standing relationship with the family, the Fitzpatrick family, for Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann. That's what Texas, Ohio State, anybody has to overcome in this recruitment. But Texas had a great multi-day unofficial visit. They're in it.
Let's jump over to some super chats this morning, gentlemen, and we'll start with this one from Splendid Daddy. Thank you again for another super chat. Sorry for going off topic. Did y'all see the report on Caleb Williams about his draft process? Wild stuff. What y'all's thoughts? For those not aware, Williams and his dad were scheming ways that he didn't have to go to Chicago, basically.
Pretty much.
I'll say this. I was on the road. I haven't seen it, but I'm looking forward to hearing about this.
Basically his dad, the gist of it is Seth Wickersham. So Seth Wickersham does all these kind of exposés, and he's writing a new book about quarterbacks. I think he's calling them American Kings or something like that. I want to read the book. It's probably gonna be pretty interesting. Matter of fact, I believe he makes a reference to the Manning family because Caleb Williams' dad spoke to the Manning family. All right. You want to know about quarterbacking, go talk to the first family of football, which family business is quarterbacking. So they wanted to talk to Archie about circumventing the Bears selection to try to, is there some way to get around it through the CBA or whatever? There's no way to get around it. They decided ultimately that they were going to play for the Bears, but his dad said that's where quarterbacks go to die. And in one of the excerpts from the article, Caleb Williams claims like that he would watch film by himself and nobody would instruct him. I think that he says at times Williams said he would watch film alone with no instruction or guidance from the coaches. No one tells me what to watch. Caleb told his dad, I just turn it on. Now, by the way, every player should be watching film on their own in the NFL. That's part of the job. Now, somebody should teach you how to watch film, so you're not just watching film. Now, I learned how to watch film from Coach Akina. Hell, even in high school, I got a rudimentary lesson from Coach Tom Nolan. You should learn how to watch film. Great story from Adrian Phillips. So he learned how to watch film from the same guy that taught me, Coach Akina. And he said when he got to the NFL, this is how freaky the NFL is. And y'all ever heard of pod fasting? Where people listen to they listen to a lot of podcasts, but they listen to them sped up. So they can listen to an hour show in 45 minutes or whatever, or 30 minutes. So they listen to it really, really fast, like how I talk all the time. And they, so apparently NFL defenders and some officers, they do this with film. Adrian Phillips said when he got to the NFL that Eric Weddle was watching film like that. Like he was watching film at twice the speed. And he would sit and Adrian Phillips said he would sit there and he'd be like, I don't even know what the hell I'm watching. This looks crazy. And Eric Weddle would be there just calling out stuff like, look at it, calling out formation. He'd be like, what the hell? How did you see that? How do you have time? And he said they basically train your brain and trained his eyes to learn how to watch film at a faster speed. So you can watch more film, right? It's only 24 hours in a day. You got to find out how to get more work in than your opponent. And that's how some guys are doing it. Blew my mind too. I was like, damn, Rob B been watching film the old school way. Just mean that some dudes are watching it like that. But that's my point is somebody with the Bears organization should have been teaching him how to watch film. So he's claiming basically that he didn't really know how to watch film, didn't know what the hell he was watching, just watching it. Somebody should teach you at every level how to watch film because it's more advanced than the previous level. But I think the point that goes back to Texas is this. The Mannings know something that they knew something years ago that we're just finding out now. The NFL is not a developmental league for quarterbacks. They won't even teach you how to watch film. You got to find that on your own. It's not a developmental league for quarterbacks. The Mannings know that, which is why they want Arch to be at Texas, where Sark is going to emphasize and prioritize development. And that's why Eli and Peyton, they know that in the first family of football. I think that's the lesson that I take from it for Texas fans.
And this leads into our next question. David Keith Williams says, Arch Manning, CJ Baxter, DeAndre Moore, DJ Campbell, Anthony Hill, Money Muhammad, and Gilbo have all been mocked in first rounds in these early NFL mock drafts. And that's why Arch Manning will not be in the 26 NFL draft, by the way. The family knows the importance of starting 25-plus games in college and being ready to be a pro starting quarterback when you get there. CJ Baxter, I saw him in a first round. We talked about that one day, just no way to go there. DeAndre Moore, that intrigues me. DJ Campbell, I don't see that. Anthony Hill certainly should be or possibility. Rod, this may be the draft where, and we'll see, because look, Matthew Golden transferred to Texas. Nobody thought he was going to be a first-round pick, right, at the time when he transferred. Jahdae Barron, nobody thought he was going to be a first-round pick headed into the season. So Texas ended up with 3 first-rounders in the draft, but this may be the year that Texas, I leaned it at 27 draft being the real big one for Texas. The 26 will be interesting to watch as far as the draft goes for the Horns, because I don't think Arch Manning will be in it. DeAndre Moore is interesting though. If he has a really good year, I mean, look, nobody thought Matthew Golden was going to be a first round pick. And DeAndre Moore's going to run faster than people think because he gets behind people. He's going to run faster than people think with combine training. I'm not saying he's going to run what Matthew Golden did, but he's going to run faster than people think.
Yeah, I believe was it Todd McShay that put out the way too early 2026 mock draft with DeAndre Moore in the first round. That surprised me, but you're right about the Matthew Golden thing. Sark's offense, NFL coaches, they like Sark's preference of wide receiver. That's pretty obvious. And in his offense, the guys that Sark likes, that skill set that he covets, he's able to weaponize it and maximize it. We see that. So I could see it happening, him going off. Two broke to bed.
By the way, this would be one of the more amazing things to happen because that 2027 NFL draft has Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, Dylan Stewart. I mean, they're going to be talking about the 27 draft as one of those greats of all time drafts. If any college had somebody go 1-2, that would be amazing in that draft.
Is that the Lagway draft too? Is he the
Lagway? By the way, going to high schools down here, I hadn't mentioned this, and I'm going to be careful. Going to high schools down here in South Florida, there's some people that think Lagway got hurt again this spring with his shoulder.
No.
Some high school coaches, and they're not saying it's like terrible, but they're saying it's recurring. And these guys talk to a lot of college coaches when they walk through those doors. They go to spring practices. Pretty interesting discussion I had at a certain high school on earlier in the week. They said he's had something recurring.
Oh,
Penn State's done that.
You stole. I was going to ask and see if you knew.
Sorry, Penn State's done
like
that
3 times. I think it's happened like 3 times though, right?
Nope. Only in 2000, Penn State defensive end Courtney Brown was selected first by the Browns. Penn State linebacker LeVar Arrington was selected second overall by the Redskins. That's the only time.
No, it's happened before. It's happened again. I'll find it. Yeah, it's happened more because I remember when we studied this when the Texans were about to have it happen with the C.J. Stroud Will Anderson thing, or the Bryce Young, Will Anderson thing. It's happened. I'll find it. It's happened.
I trust you over Grok, so I'm going to go with your answer.
No, I think it has. Yeah.
I definitely trust you. I know that you've definitely put the research in it, so we'll go with that. Let's see here. We got more super chats, guys. Jerry, this one from the Loin Girder. Thank you for your super chat. He says, you've talked about Texas having to get used to big boy recruiting now. With the success that Texas has had the last couple of years on the field and in recruiting, how much are other teams' loins girded now?
Well, I think A&M and Oklahoma certainly are. There's no doubt. I mean, look at Jermaine Bishop's recruitment. I mean, makes an unofficial visit to A&M and decides to shut it down and commit to Texas before the June official visits. That is a little bit of change here. Now, parents are big on Texas, right? We've said that throughout all the unofficial visits. But, yes, look, Texas is, 6 official visitors from state of Florida, probably 6 or 7 from the state of Georgia when all's said and done. I mean, with Xavier Griffin now on the 13th, probably add another one to that. I mean, yes. I mean, I've never seen that many Texas coaches in the state of Florida rolling around and going to high schools like I've done this week. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there's Kenodo Hudson, Kenny Baker, Mark Orfe, Kyle Flood, Alan Clark. I mean, they had half the staff in Florida at some point this week. Probably the same in Georgia. But yes, I mean, I think Texas has a bit of an X on their back right now in recruiting, and that's a great thing. Just know you're not going to get them all for the chat. You're not going to get them all, but I think what was going to happen is by the time signing day rolls around, assuming we have signing day anymore, but Texas will sign another top 5 class, maybe a top 3 class. Who knows? Maybe they challenge for another number 1, but I always say a lot of that stuff comes down to the rankings of the kids and where they're kind of ranked senior season and in those final rankings, because that really impacts your class rankings.
I got your answer to your question. 1 and 2. Michigan State, 1967, Bubba Smith and Clint Jones. Bubba Smith, D tackle, went number 1. Clint Jones went number 2. And then you also had Nebraska, 1984. Irving Fryer went.
Oh, wow.
And then Dean Steinkuhler.
Steinkuhler.
Yeah, went to the Oilers, number 2 at tackle. And then your 2000, Courtney Brown and LeVar Arrington went 1 and 2. So it's happened 3 times.
There you go. I like I said, I trusted you over.
I remember specifically because it was the Texans. People were talking about that with that Texans, with the draft where Texas got Will Anderson and CJ Stroud. That it could have been Bryce Young and Will Anderson 1 and 2. That's all.
All right, more super chats. Going back to what you were talking about a moment ago. Follow-up question from Splendid Daddy to you, Rod. Shouldn't Riley have taught him to watch film?
Well, that's a good point. He probably shouldn't have said that. I don't know who. So he probably shouldn't have told Seth Wickersham that, because now you're right. People are going to be looking. Hey, is Lincoln Riley not teaching guys how to watch film? I think there's like I said. I think at every level the dedication to film watching and the expertise and the methodology of it changes. Like I said, I didn't know guys were watching, film sped up like that. I had no idea that was a thing until Adrian Phillips told me about it. And I was like, oh, that's why Robbie didn't make it in the league. That's one of the secrets I should have known. But yeah, so I just think that's what it is mostly. But Lincoln Riley, yeah, he should have learned most of what he needed to know by watching by Lincoln Riley teaching him how to watch film in college. I mean, he was the best player in college football. But you can do that, as Johnny Manziel, you can do that off just pure talent. And don't have to be necessarily a film junkie. But to make it in the NFL, you will be exposed if you don't have the intellectual base and football acumen, especially at quarterback. Man, there's no way you're going to make it in that league off just talent alone at quarterback. You will get eaten alive. And I think maybe now he knows that part too. So not saying he wasn't putting in the study, but you need to go above and beyond in the NFL. That's the league. That's what makes it so damn hard. That's what makes it tough. Trust me, I've been there. It ain't easy. And for guys with tremendous, tremendous upside and immense world-class elite talent like Caleb Williams, he still can go out there and get embarrassed in that league if you're not putting in the work. So he'll put in the work now, and he's got a guy, Ben Johnson, that will teach him. I think he's gonna be great, actually. Personal opinion.
And then Slick Rick, is Michael Taft the next Harrison Smith?
What? I think Harrison Smith is more. I think he's more athletic, honestly, than Taft. I don't remember his testing numbers and stuff. I don't know how well Taft's going to test. Taft might make me look stupid and end up running like a faux, a low 4.4 or something like that. Like, I don't know if Taft's skills will translate to the testing season.
Smith is a much bigger guy too.
And yeah, he is he got linebacker.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6'2", 215. He's a bigger dude.
Yeah, he's thick. Yeah.
And his testing numbers
they're freakish.
Really high.
Pretty good. Yeah,
he ran a 6.63 3-cone. I mean,
for that size, that's crazy. Yes, I don't know if that. He's not that kind of player. I don't know if Taft. I don't know if Taft has a really good, accurate comparison, right, that I can think of. Some of that Bill Bates. Man, I'd hate going white safety to white safety. I'm trying to break it up here, man. I'm mad going white safety to white safety all the time. I just feel like I'm just into the stereotypes. There's got to be another safety. Give me some time here. I'll figure it out.
Let's jump over to some other questions. Jerry, a ton of questions on Cooper Witten this morning. I figured that would be the case. We'll take this one from King Me, for example. Any scouting report on Cooper Witten?
Not yet, since I've been on the road, man. But he's really talented linebacker prospect, obviously. I've watched him a little bit. Closing in on 6'2", about 215. I think he's growing, maybe even closing in on 220. I think he's up to about 25, 26 offers now. And he's put up some good testing numbers. I think he's about 11 flat in the 100 meters. So his speed is there. He can really run. He's got tremendous ball skills, obviously. Look, he's going to be one of the top pure linebackers in the state, in the country, in that class. But I need to do a little more on him, honestly. But on your initial look at him, he's easily going to be one of the top linebackers in the state and in the country. And a lot of people have him the top ranked linebacker in Texas right now. It's early, but he's definitely going to be one of those guys. Athletics and instincts.
All right. Joseph Curtis says, Rod, call your shot. Who gets the most interceptions this season? Jerry, who gets the most sacks this season, excluding Colin Simmons?
Oh, man.
That's good. That's a good question. Interceptions. I just did a thing about havoc plays, too, and guys who cost most havoc plays. Jelani McDonald could be in that conversation. Honestly, I think Taft could get in that conversation. I think Jelani McDonald is kind of one of the first guys that jumps to mind for me. And honestly, I don't know if they'll try Malik Muhammad enough for him to do it. And because I think if you are game playing against Texas, you want to try the other corner. It's easier. Texas doesn't even know who their other corner is going to be. Obviously, Malik Muhammad. Why go after the veteran? So I just think he may not get enough targets at him to be that guy. I know Jadae Barron did, and Jadae Barron was great, but I think they may go after. I may go after the other corner a little bit. So I'll go Jelani McDonald. I know Taft. I might be disrespecting Michael Taft. Am I disrespecting Taft, Daddy? Should I be putting him in the conversation? I'm gonna go Jelani McDonald. That's what I'm gonna go.
Sacks, if it's not Anthony Hill, that means he got nicked up or something. I mean, he had 8.5 last year. Yeah. And he's going to be in a position to up that maybe by 1 on this team this year with the increased depth and size at linebackers. They can move him around even more so. If it's not Anthony Hill, that means he had some minor ankle sprain or something and missed a little time. Somebody asked this. Where was this? Did I start this question? I wanted to get to this question. Hold on. It was actually really good because there's some developments there. I don't know where the question was, Blake, but somebody asked, who are my favorite 2027 recruits in Texas? Look, John Meredith, the corner from Euless Trinity, and I saw him a little when I went to see Toa Katoa last year. He is one of the elite corners the state's produced. He is 6'1.5", 175. John Meredith, Euless Trinity, is an absolute stud. He should be a 5-star prospect. I really like Myson Johnson Cook, the running back from DeSoto. I ran into a couple of college coaches that have also share that opinion. 6'2", Rod, 6'2", 220, ran 10'3", 10'3", as a sophomore in high school. I'll tell you, has a great frame. A great frame is Kadarian Redmond, the defensive lineman who was at Lake Dallas, who's now at DeSoto. He has got an all-world frame. We'll see if he makes that big jump on the field, but he's going to be a big-time guy. Caden Scott, the offensive tackle in San Antonio Roosevelt. Obviously Kennedy Brown at Kingwood, but Caden Scott at San Antonio Roosevelt has a tremendous frame on him. Basketball player / football player. He's got a real chance, if you ask me. Cibolo still has a couple of really good DBs. There's some good young receivers in the state. And I would say this too. And I'm not saying it's going to be a Texas guy, but if you live in East Texas, Kavian Bryant out of Palestine Westwood is one of the better 2-sport stars we've seen in East Texas in a while. As a basketball player, as a football prospect. Now he plays quarterback, but just as a baller and an athlete with athletic instincts and size. I mean, he's got D1 offers in basketball, legitimate D1 offers in football, a lot of them. He just visited Michigan unofficially. If you live in East Texas, go watch Kavian Bryan on the hardwood and the gridiron, and you'll have a couple of fun nights there. He's tremendous. All right, somebody's mentioning Jalen Brewster. Jalen Brewster is going to be interesting. He played running back as a young kid, and he actually played running back as a freshman. The first time I went to Cedar Hill, they're like, oh, you got to see this young kid, 6'3", 277 as a freshman playing running back. He's just now starting to be a defensive lineman. So I think this year is going to be huge for him as a defensive lineman. Talent-wise, raw skills-wise, absolutely. This is the first year I think and he'll still play some running back. He was working out at running back in the spring or during the season last year when I went up there. This is a huge year for him as a defensive lineman in high school football.
That's scary for moms out there who got to watch their baby try to tackle Dude, at running back, that's sick.
Yeah, and somebody said, is he Henry Melton? I don't think he's as nimble as Henry Melton was as a runner. He's more of a power guy, a downhill guy, but he's got a chance. He's got a chance.
Wow.
Right, Jerry, one last time, tell us how people can escape the insurance trap.
I would like to do that. Our show is brought to you by BKCW Insurance. Did your business have a frustrating insurance or employee benefits renewal? Most likely you didn't hear anything from your agent all year. Then right before it's time to renew, your agent delivered the bad news, a rate increase. When this happens, the agent is providing no value and you're stuck in what we call the insurance trap. BKCW takes you out of the insurance trap by providing you with actual risk management consulting, not just price quoting. Operating out of the headquarters in Austin, Texas, and owned by University of Texas graduate, BKCW uses a 5-step process to identify your business's weak spots, design a plan, execute it, and monitor your situation throughout the year so you can lower your insurance costs and effectively manage your company's risk. BKCW has already helped some of the most well-known construction companies, restaurant groups, breweries, and nonprofits in Central Texas escape that insurance trap. And it all starts with a risk-free assessment. Go to BKCW or send an email to info@bkcw.com to get started with a free risk assessment or claims audit and escape the insurance trap.
Okay, we got time for some more questions here. And we've gotten a lot of questions about Ojo. Felix Ojo, Turntine, Ivory Martin wants to know what's up with them along with Booby Feaster, Jerry.
Texas and Booby Feaster just not a match there. And I think that's probably mutual. Texas, just like some other guys, I think Feaster's a talented guy. Turntine Ojo, Texas is 50-50 leading, whatever you want to call it, heading in the official visit, still some process to go. I've said this all along with these offensive linemen because I'm here to tell you, I said this yesterday, we just watched Sam Roseburg, tremendous. Texas loves Malachi Lee. They went to see him in Hawaii last week. He's officially visiting. You have Zayden Crimpin out there. You have Sam Utu. We'll see if they make a move on Joel Irvin. The Miami commitment I saw at Fort Myers, it sure looked like they were intrigued. A lot of this is going to come down to the timing and how the dominoes fall. Even if a guy's leaning to Texas right now, does not mean he's going to end up at Texas. I think Texas is going to come away with a really good offensive line class. I think Texas is in a pretty good spot for those guys right now, but we'll have to see how these numbers play out, how these decisions play out. And it's not that, look, Texas, say a couple of tackles committed before one of those two guys. Does that mean Texas wouldn't want that guy anymore? Not at all. Does that mean it's still the right fit with 3 tackles on the board at that point? That's kind of the question. So we have to see how the dominoes fall. I think Texas is in a good spot with a number of offensive linemen, but there's still big battles out there. But they won't get them all because of the numbers game. And when the dominoes start falling, it will push somebody a different direction. And then that's before you get to NIL.
Then we got another super chat from Slick Rick. Thank you again, Slick Rick. What happened to the big running back goal line recruiting? We don't have a Cody Johnson, a Joe Bergeron, or a Henry Melton. These plus-size backs would have helped in the red zone.
I don't think we're going to see Sark recruit that guy. And look, I think if CJ Baxter hadn't got hurt, I think that changed up Texas run game in the red zone, Rod. I really do. I think that hurt Texas quite a bit during the season. I just don't think you're going to see that back because Sark wants these guys to be able to motion out. He wants them to be versatile. He wants to be able to use them in every single way. I'm not sure you see him recruit a situational Cody Johnson type of back. I might be wrong, but it just doesn't. He hasn't done it yet at Texas. Let's just say that.
No, I agree. He's been on the record saying running backs are the most underutilized weapon in the passing game. So he wants to make sure the guys are comfortable in space in the running game. That's usually not those big kind of backs. I think you just want to recruit somebody with violent twitch.
Yes.
That's something I've noticed about really good red zone backs in that short area. They just have a violent twitch to them. What's the Ohio State running back? Was it Judkins? He was like that, just a violent twitch. Bijan and Rojo. had that element to their game. So I just think it's just that skill set. I think they got a couple of guys like that on the roster now. So I think that will help you, and having a mobile quarterback will help you. But I don't see them going back to those kind of back. Texas don't even have a fullback on the roster.
By the way, you hear a lot of things out on the road. One of the things I was told was don't sleep on James Simon.
Hey, violent twitch. Does he have it? He got some violent twitch to him.
Don't sleep on James Simon. That's what I was told.
Okay. Like that.
All right, guys, we'll close with this question here from Big Homie 57. What are y'all's way too early thoughts of the Cotton Bowl? Mateer getting a lot of hype preseason, but can the rest of that team come through?
They're going to be good on defense. I mean, that's the one thing, Rod. They're going to be good on defense. They lost some key parts. Stutzman was a stud football player in college, good in coverage. Bowman was a playmaker, right? They lost some parts, but they're still going to be really good on defense. To me, it's offensive line and it's wide receivers. Are those guys going to help maximize Oklahoma's offense? Because Mateer is going to be a good player. Is he going to be great? I'm not sure on that. I think he's going to be a good player. And I think Jaden Ott plus the young back, the bigger back there, is going to help their run game. So it's really going to come down to, I think, the offensive line and the wideouts for Oklahoma.
Yeah, I agree with that because I think John Mateer is actually going to be pretty good. He's in the same system that he was in at Washington. He brought Ben Arbuckle over. That method seems to be paying some dividends, and I think lately with some of the recent examples we've seen of Vanderbilt did it, and of course Jeff Levy and Dylan Gabriel reunited, and Brent Venables with it Oklahoma doing earlier during this regime. So I think that's going to work. I agree with Jerry. I don't know about the weapons on the outside. I think they can, at least schematically and maybe with the skill set of Mateer, cover up some protection issues if they have it. And that'll also juice and boost the running game because you got a dual threat quarterback. But if they don't have weapons in the passing game, yeah, I don't know if that scheme, now that is a prolific scheme, but I don't know if you can scheme up that much stuff in the SEC. In Washington State, it's different. Different types of athletes they'll be going up against. So I don't know if schematically it'll give you enough of an advantage not to have guys just on the outside who can win one-on-one battles.
And the other thing with Oklahoma is, this only kind of happens when you have a coach that's on the hot seat to this level. Everybody's going to circle the Michigan game. I'm circling the Auburn game for Oklahoma early in the season. Oklahoma, they need to beat Auburn early in the season. Michigan, whatever happens there. But if Oklahoma Venables loses to Auburn and Jackson Arnold, and Auburn talent-wise is going to be better. They're going to be better. If they lose to Jackson Arnold at home, that's going to put Oklahoma in that staff in a really tough situation. They're going to have a lot of negativity surrounding them, and that can affect the team. That Auburn game, I think, is huge for Brent Venables and Oklahoma's season because if they lose that, man, the birds are going to be chirping loud in Norman, and that can affect your team.
Hey, one thing, Jerry, before we get out of here, yesterday we had the super chat about the helmet communication with high school.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yep.
So my buddy Carl Padilla reached out. He's a huge fan of the show, and
yep.
obviously Carl knows
he does a great job. Does a great job.
He knows Texas high school football like no other. He says there is no verbal or helmet communication. It's all wristband communication to the players on the field. The coach's communication device can only be in the press box. The head coach on the field can only communicate by talking or hand signals, just like in the past.
Okay.
As far as wrist devices, players can reply to whatever coach sends in the play, but any player on the team can wear a wrist device. So it's not actual in-helmet communication like that super chat. So just wanted to make the clarification because I knew I hadn't heard that, and I think we were all kind of surprised by that one.
I was like, don't give Scott Surratt headset communication to his son. Y'all can forget about it at that point next year.
All right, guys. Hey, one other thing I wanted to mention. Obviously, baseball again tonight at 6:30, but softball starts the regionals today at 3:30 against Eastern Illinois. That game will be on ESPN Plus, and then of course on the radio as well. So good luck to Mike White and his team. Don't forget about that one, 3:30 today.
Nice.
And then
so there's a follow-up. So wait, so they're going to send plays through an Apple Watch? Is that what we're getting at? That's
we may have to get Carl on to explain it a little bit better.
We need to get Carl on anyways. Carl, it's time for you to come on the show and talk a little high school ball.
Yeah, and I know he's watching right now because he's been texting me as we're talking about different subjects. So
we've never had Carl on. Carl, it's time, come on next week.
That'd be good stuff for sure. All right. A lot of people also asking about baseball coverage. Bases loaded will be the same as always later today. Of course, we'll be talking of the OU series and what to expect next. So we'll have that. And then what else do we have later today, guys?
We got Longhorn live stream. I think we got a couple of recruiting videos coming. CJ with Jabari Mack, Howard Hayward. I have something with Dia Bell I'm not sure if that's going to come to be published today or tomorrow. That's up to producer Matt. But we have a bunch of good stuff coming. You'll get to hear from a lot of recruits here. Myself, CJ out on the road, getting a lot of stuff from those guys. And CJ and I are going to do a special recruiting kind of update week on the road on Saturday at some point.
Nice.
Good stuff. Hey, real quick, Jerry, to put the spot any more highs, the loin girder wants to know.
Not one I'm ready to put on the board yet, but yes.
Ooh.
I'm still gonna I'm rolling a little cautious though right now on the one.
All right, guys. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football presented by BKCW. We want to thank them along with My Athlete 360 and Huel all for sponsoring today's show. Also, a big shout out to Rod for filling in for Bobby today. Appreciate you as always, Rod.
Appreciate y'all.
Fans love you coming on as well. We'll be back, of course, on Monday morning. Be sure.
And remember, $250 super chat. Rod goes full uniform. Anybody wants to throw one out there?
I do have a jersey I can put on at least. That's for sure.
Be sure to head on over to ontexasfootball.com. Remember, we can't be live all the time, but the website's on all the time. Use promo code OTFOG when you sign up if you haven't already, and you can lock in an annual subscription for just $49.95. Again, promo code OTFOG at ontexasfootball.com. What you got?
I got one more thing. I forgot to mention it for the basketball guys out there. This is the live period for evaluation. Sean Miller and his staff on the road at Nike, EYBL, Adidas 3SSB, Under Armour, Puma, at all those circuits this weekend, starting today. Actually, games are beginning in about 30 minutes. Texas staff will be on the road in basketball. I expect some new offers to go out in 26 and 27. And I'll also end with this, because I didn't mention this yesterday. I talked to Rajah Bell, who was out. We've had him on the show. We're going to have him on the show again. Obviously, father of Dia and Ty, the 2028 guard who Florida State just offered and Texas knows about. He thinks Sean Miller was a really, really, really good hire for Texas basketball. He is a longtime NBA player, thinks that was a really good hire. For those that were under.
There you go.
Nice.
Oh, one other thing I wanted to address real quick, because I've been asked this like 10 times since yesterday. B2 and ATX, is Gaspo injured? Anybody know? No, he's healthy. So there you go. All right. Well, we will be back Monday morning. Of course, we'll have stuff all throughout the day here. So be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, ring the bell so you're notified anytime we go live, post content, whatever it may be. And for Rod Babers and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you next time.